Breaking off all units. Fire at will. Squad 2, pick your targets. Too many, Captain. Watch your stabilizer, Gold 6. Anybody cover me. I got 2 vultures on my tail. You've got to hold them here. Watch your left. I can't shake them. I'm hit. I'm hit. Where's the reinforcements?
This is General Guitar. Welcome to another one of my videos, and today I got something very special in the mail now. I'm really excited about this because this means I can progress with my lightsaber project. You know what that means? New project, new saber, and we're starting off with the electronics. I named my new lightsaber the Prodigy because my oldest subscribers will get what it means, what it stands for. So it comes in a small bag in a box like this size. I just threw it away, but I did have to open the contents, and let me just play these things out for me to show you. Okay, so what was in the box? I'm going to leave this for last. Okay, so let's start off with this. This is a blade plug that goes in front of your lightsaber, like this one for instance. You just put it in there, and it's mainly decorative, but it also protects the LED module, from maybe dust or anything entering it. Also, I want to thank the Custom Saber Shop for obliging for the beer tab set screw here, and of course the new blade plug that I got for the Graflex. So let's move on. Next, I have the speaker that I've used, 28mm. I've used this in my Graflex build before, and it's a very decent quality speaker. It's quite loud actually. I'm very happy with it. I could have gone with a bass speaker, but I decided not to. So I'm putting this aside. Next, we have the 2 switches, and I'll explain where they're to in a sec. And let me just put them aside. 2 resistors, and the reason is because if I open this little container here, this is an LED star just like the one I use in my Graflex. The Graflex one was blue, royal blue, white, and this one is green, green, white. So yeah, I'm going to be needing these 2 resistors, which is not necessary for greens and blues, but for reds and yellows or oranges or amber colors, resistors are absolutely necessary to put on the negative of the pad. So we've seen this before. This is a 1-inch heatsink module, whereas the Graflex one that I featured on my previous video a few months back was a smaller diameter. I think it was 0.875 if I'm not wrong. And this is the copper heatsink base. This is what keeps the whole LED module together. It has holes around, so you can basically feed the wires, whereas my previous heatsink, the smaller in diameter one, had a hole in the middle. But that's not a problem, so yeah, let's put this aside. What we also need, of course, in the LED module to be assembled is the optics lens holder, which basically helps refract the light from the LED diodes and gives the lightsaber its characteristic brightness. So I'll assemble this when my lightsaber hilt arrives, which I'm going to be building in Greece, by the way. I'm going back, and that's where all of my tools are, which is great, which is fantastic, and I'm really excited to do so. And here we have these 2 little screws in here. I don't know if you can see them in this bag. I'm not taking them out because they're very small and very easy to lose. Basically, they're the 8/32 set screws, which I used in the internals of my Graflex. But a SaberForge lightsaber like the one I ordered has these set screw holes on the outside of the hilt, which are visible. So I just got these just in case. I do have the necessary drill tap to fit these inside when I drill a hole into whatever part of the lightsaber. So one is for the retention for the LED, and the other is for the blade and the blade plug. So let's just put this back into its packaging, and kind of weird like that. And if you're into this hobby, you've most likely developed some OCD behavior. And let us just thread this together. And back home I do have the thermal paste. Some of you who know about lightsabers might be thinking, hey, why didn't you take any what's it called, thermal star pad? Yeah, I think that's what it's called. I've never used it before, so I don't use it that much in my dictionary. And of course we have the recharge port that I've used before from the Custom Saber Shop. And right now at this point I know which prong is which. The one I'm pointing to now is negative to the board. Sorry, I think it's, yeah, so much for knowing Catan. Battery negative, board negative, and the two shared positives, board and battery. So it also has a kill key that I ordered, so that, you know, every single recharge board should have a kill key accompanied. It's best so that you do not basically waste power. And last but not least, the pièce de résistance is the PRIZM soundboard. Fantastic, I love it. And just like the Nano Biscotti before it, it comes in a very fancy little box. And I've already opened this. Here's your SD card, which you will load into your soundboard. Now this is quite different to the Nano Biscotti. The Nano Biscotti's pads, as you can see on the board, I don't know if you guys can see this properly, but if you remember, the Nano Biscotti's pads were all together in one spot, one line. And this one, the PRIZM, has the pads basically laid out, which would make for more, which would make it easier to solder. This is slightly more expensive than the Nano Biscotti, but it features more things that are closer to a lightsaber. And this is where the two switches come in. If I ordered a Nano Biscotti, for example, I'd need only one switch because I need the lightsaber to power on and off. So the one switch is going to be activation, and the other one is going to be what we call auxiliary switch. And what the auxiliary switch does is basically when you press the button, it does the platter deflects, and it also features the blade lock when you hold on to it, and you can also do some force powers and whatnot. So we're going to get to that. I'm still studying the board, by the way, and there's a lot of things. When you play with these things, basically don't play around with these things. Take whatever you need to take, buy whatever you need to buy, but be sure to download the manual from plectralabs.com. It's for free, and you should give it a good read. It's 40 pages, but it will fill you in on, you know, how to use your board, and it's a good thing to know. Before I put it back, actually, what the heck am I doing? Let me just show you guys what this board does. So starting to your left, which is my right, what I'm pointing at now is the positive and negative to the soundboard, which means all positives and negatives are going to end up here. These two are the speaker pads, which do not have a polarity, which means that I do not have to worry which wire goes where. And on the top here, and going downwards, is the L1, L2, and L3 speaker pads. Now, I'm going to need to do some configurations, and that's why I think it's a good idea for you guys to read the manual, because PRIZM soundboards have this unique ability where you can basically, if you're using multiple colors, not just like me that's using 2 greens and a white, but if you're going like for a red, green, blue, or maybe a purple, which is a mix of blue and red and white, you can assign to each sound font that you cycle to have a specific color preset, which is an amazing thing to do. For example, so if you have a dark side font, there you go, you have to ignite it in red, and then you can switch to a blue for a light side font and maybe a gray meat font for white, I don't know. So that's personal preferences, but we'll get to that later. And as we move down, as you can see where my fingernail is pointing at right now, you can see 3 pads that are one next to the other. Now from your right all the way to the left, it is the ground, auxiliary, and activation switch. Now this is where I want to implement the switches and showcase them right now. So basically what I have to do is open the packaging, and this applies for both switches. So there are 4 prongs on this, 2 of which we're going to be cutting, because as you can see on the soundboard here, these little ones that I didn't explain are what we call the accent pad LEDs, and what they do basically is they illuminate the ring that is inside the diameter of the switch, if you will. So I'm not going to be going with illuminated switches. I don't prefer them. It is too pimpy for me. Some people may prefer it, so if you want to do illuminated switches, I don't think that I'm the best to go, but the manual also kind of explains what you have to do, and it's a whole lot of trouble because you have to get some resistors which do have a polarity, which means that you have to be extra careful. But if you like illuminated switches, that's totally up to you. I'm not going to be doing that. So 1, 2, 3, 4 pads for the illuminated switches, and then you got a deep sleep pad, I believe, and you have the ground pad for the illuminated switches. So as you understand, naturally this part is going to be solderless. I'm not going to connect anything there. So basically I want positive and negative to the board, speakers, LED negatives, activation, auxiliary and ground for the activation switches. So the thing with these switches is that they have 4 prongs, and what this means is that 2 of them are for the accent pad over here, and the other 2 are for the activation and auxiliary respectively. Now this does have a polarity, and I did some research and homework for it, also found in the manual for the PRIZM 5.5, and essentially as you hold it like this, right now the top prong is the positive prong and the bottom one is the negative. Now in my previous switch on the Nano Biscotti, it didn't matter which one was which. Well, basically it did matter because you know, of course it does matter. Forgive me, I kind of phased out there. So what we're going to do with these 2 switches, let me just get the other one out for demonstration's sake, since I've gone this far. And these little plastic bags are a little annoying sometimes. But basically the 2 negatives are going to be twisted together and soldered onto the ground pad right here, and each positive, one for the activation and the other positive for the for the what's it called, for the auxiliary, is going to go onto their each respective pad. So yeah, that's that, and this is mentioned in the manual, by the way. So ground, 2 main negatives from each of the switches, and 1 for the, I'm going to use this I believe for my auxiliary. Maybe I could change, I don't know, and this one should be my activation. So that's that. This is basically what I've got to show you guys for now. Let me just put it back into its plastic wrap. So yeah, the build is going to progress as I intend to, and you bet your ass that I'm excited because this is a custom lightsaber that I have. I know SaberForge already has their own Prodigy named Lightsaber, but mine is very special to me. I wanted to try and use some other words, but Prodigy fits the description of the lightsaber, so when I get back you will get to see the original design. It's close to the one that you have in the thumbnail right now, but it's not the same, you know, 100% to scale. That basically the facade is very similar, because that is what I could do with the parts available. So if I had to machine them and design them myself, it would be more accurate to my drawing, which was exactly 10 years ago, by the way. I even put a date on it, and I'll show you guys in another video. So that's what I have for now, everyone. I hope you kind of enjoyed this. I'm trying to hype you guys up, and also the reason why I'm doing this build vlog is because I want to show you guys that I've improved in my soldering skills, and that I also take the commission business very seriously. I want to start making commissions, and I want this build, the second build that you're going to be seeing on my channel, to be one of the reasons why you guys can get encouraged for me to build you a lightsaber, a functioning one, let alone with a more difficult, in terms of, you know, there's a lot more to study for the PRIZM. Not that the Nano Biscotti doesn't need any studying, but basically it's more simple for you guys to solder. But I believe that this is going to be much easier in terms of practicality, because the as you can see on the depiction here, all of the pads are splayed out. But like my old man used to say, difficult is only what you guys don't know. So whatever you learn, and you learn it well, it becomes easy in the end. So it's a matter of perspective. So let me get my bubble wrap, because I'm going to have to store this away because I'm starting to pack as we speak, because there's a lot of things that I do not want to forget anything behind. And I guess I can do this after the video. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time when I upload another part of the Last Jedi series. This time we're talking about supporting characters, and if I don't have anything posted until Sunday, you guys can catch me on my pod race after party with my co-host Flipped Out and my guests this weekend. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. General Katarn, out.